Let's make some holiday mugs. To make this plaid mug, you will need white icing at flooding consistency, black icing at piping consistency, and a color of your choice of food gel to paint the lines. Start by outlining and flooding the main part of the mug white. As always, when flooding a large part of the cookie, use a number 3 tip. You need that background icing to be really firm for you to paint it, so set it aside and allow it to dry for at least 2 hours. Once the background icing is dry, prepare your paint. I'm using red gel food coloring and mixing it with vodka to make an edible paint. Don't worry, the alcohol evaporates, so nobody will be affected by eating these cookies. Using a clear alcohol like vodka instead of using water helps maintain that clear, smooth finish on the royal icing. If you use water, it creates a little bit of a grainy texture, which is also fine. If you prefer to use water, you are welcome to do so. Plan where you want your plaid lines to go and then thicken each line. If you have any liquid food coloring, the runny kind, you can use that to paint instead of mixing the food gel with the vodka. Here's a quick paintbrush tip. Purchase some good quality paintbrushes and sanitize them. Then store them with your baking supplies so that they don't get mixed up with your arts and craft projects. Now these are always clean and always ready to use for cookie projects. Once you're satisfied with your vertical lines, paint the horizontal lines. Next, add another layer of color to the little squares where the lines overlap. Place this cookie near a fan to allow the edible paint to dry. The next step is to pipe your message onto your mug. I love to use a plastic sheet to practice piping and positioning the letters. Some ideas for this mug are Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, but I'm going to end up using Warm and Cozy. Once you are satisfied with your positioning of your letters and your piping skills, pipe directly onto the cookie. I like to keep my practice sheet nearby to copy the letters. Always use piping consistency, so that's the thicker consistency, when piping lettering. For skinny, dainty lettering, use your 0 tip. I like to go back and add extra icing to the downward strokes on my lettering. Use icing at flooding consistency to outline and flood the handle. To add some lines and definition into the whipped cream on the top of the mug, we're going to pipe it in sections. So first do this one little wedge near the edge of the mug, and then just do the top bit. Set that aside to dry for at least 2 to 5 minutes, or until the white icing has formed a little bit of a crust, and then fill in this little center section. To make this Winter Wonderland mug, you need some blue and white icing, both at flooding consistency, and those lovely fondant snowflakes you made earlier. Outline and flood the main part of your mug, and then quickly drop some snowflakes into the icing before it dries. You can use your scribe to move them around and reposition them. Add a few white dots or mini snowflakes in the gaps. Allow the blue icing to dry for 2 to 5 minutes, and then outline and flood the whipped cream part. And while you're waiting for that icing to dry, outline and flood the handle. Once the white icing has formed a little bit of a crust, use white icing at piping consistency to pipe little swirls on the top. To make this lovely textured mug, you will need purple and white at flooding consistency, as well as some extra purple at piping consistency. Start by outlining and flooding the main part of the mug purple. Allow the purple icing to dry for 2 to 3 minutes, or until it forms a crust, and pipe the handle. To pipe the cable texture, add a number 3 tip to your bag of thicker purple icing. This design is made by crisscrossing teardrop patterns. Apply some pressure to your piping bag to pipe a drop, and then release pressure as you move your bag back to create this tapered tip. Now pipe them closer together so that they crisscross. Practice a few times on your practice sheet or a piece of paper before piping it directly onto the cookie. Next, switch the tip to a number 1 or a number 0 tip and pipe some lines between the cables. Add the whipped cream in stages as we did before, allowing dry time between each layer. To make this cute little Rudolph mug, you will need 2 shades of brown, white and red, all at flooding consistency. Use the darker brown icing to pipe this top section of Rudolph's face. Then quickly, before it dries, add a few dots of the lighter brown. Use that same light brown to outline and flood the rest of Rudolph's face. Allow the brown icing to dry for a few minutes to form a crust and then pipe the handle. Use the red icing at flooding consistency to pipe his nose, and quickly before it dries, add a streak of white to make it look like it's glowing. I am using black icing at piping consistency with a number 1 tip to pipe his eyes closed. If you want to pipe his eyes open, you are welcome to use some white icing with a dot of black inside for his pupil. Pipe the whipped cream in stages as we did before, and then finish him off by adding some antlers. For the antlers, I am using the thicker brown icing that I had left over from piping the trunk of the pine tree. To make this cute little snowman mug, you will need black, white and orange icing, all at flooding consistency. Start by outlining and flooding just the rim of the snowman's hat. Allow the black icing to dry for a few minutes and then outline and flood the snowman's face. Add the first 2 sections of the whipped cream. Next, outline and flood the handle of the mug. Pipe the carrot starting in the center of his face. Pipe 2 big black dots for the eyes and little white dots within them to give the eyes a wet look. Add some more black dots to resemble the little chunks of coal for his smile. Finish him off by adding that last little section of the whipped cream. To make this cute little penguin mug, we're going to be using the exact same colors as we did for the snowman. Outline 3/4 of the mug in black. Plan out where you want the center of his face and his little indents to go. Outline the curve of his face and body and fill it in. Here I am using my scribe to stretch the black icing to accentuate the point. Allow this first layer of black icing to dry for a few minutes and then outline and flood the handle. Flood the penguin's face white. While you're waiting for the face icing to dry a little bit, pipe the whipped cream. Pipe 2 little dots in black for his eyes and a little triangle in orange for his beak. Complete this little guy by filling in this last part of whipped cream. Our last mug design is this little Santa. To make him, you will need red and white both at flooding consistency, some black for his eyes, and then whichever color you want his flesh to be. Start by outlining and flooding the top part of the mug red. Allow the red icing to dry for a few minutes and then pipe a strip of white right underneath it. You can also start piping the top whipped cream section. Next, outline and flood Santa's beard white, making sure to leave a nice gap in the middle for his face. Add that last little section to complete the whipped cream. Flood Santa's face. While you're waiting for the face icing to dry, outline and flood the handle red. Use white icing at piping consistency to pipe little squiggles along the top part of his hat. Using the same piping consistency white icing, pipe some swirls to add texture to his beard. Add 2 little dots for his eyes and some bushy eyebrows. Use white icing at flooding consistency to pipe his moustache. Allow the moustache icing to dry for a few minutes and then pipe the nose and a little curve for the lip. And that completes our Santa cookie and all of our mug designs. We can't wait to see the designs you create with the tools you received this month. We hope you have a wonderful holiday season. Be creative and have fun.